All right, a couple of planning items real quick, and I want to get to the next section as quickly as we can so we can have some time for Q&A. But take advantage of the new depreciation and Section 179 rules. Of course, that's pretty straightforward. But as I mentioned before, I've got it right here, be careful how that plays into the interest limitations after 2021, so just got to think about it. Also, the section, or sorry, I missed one. The cost segregation study. That's something that we've done a lot of these for clients in the past, and if you're in real estate and having exposure to real estate, you might have heard of this. Basically, what a cost segregation study does is takes all of the components of a building and breaks them down so that you can potentially take more advantage of the accelerated depreciation rules that we were talking about. So generally, commercial real estate depreciates at 39 years. That's a long time to depreciate a property. So if you do a cost segregation study, you could take a $10 million building and maybe a couple $1 million or even more than that could be broken down and it could be considered personal property. And personal property generally is depreciated over either 5 or 7 years, and it could be eligible for the bonus depreciation or maybe even some Section 179 depending on the size. So that's what a cost segregation study does. And these are very detailed studies. They're done by engineers and accountants that work together. And they typically are somewhat expensive, so it's something you really have to commit to. They could be several $1,000s depending on the size of the property. So it's something you want to look at. But we think that in a lot of cases with significant property holdings, it's a good positive step because not only does it give you some potential for accelerated depreciation, but also it really, honestly, it gets your property in the proper categories. Because cost segregation is not something that's necessarily a loophole or something. It's what the interpretation of the folks who are doing these is that you're getting those categories correct rather than doing them incorrectly versus having the entire property being considered commercial real estate. Under the laws and under the rules, you really should be breaking it down. So we think that cost segregation is more the rule than the exception. But anyways, it's not always cost effective to do them, but it is something to think about. If you've got significant real estate or if you're looking to purchase real estate, I would consider it. Oh, I thought we had a question, sorry. All right, the Section 199A pass-through deduction, of course, just start thinking about that. Start planning if you have multiple entities, start looking at how those are structured. And also, you might want to think about adjusting your wages. If you're an S corporation shareholder, there's the rule that says you have to have reasonable compensation if you're providing services to the company. But it might need to be adjusted slightly so that you can take more advantage of these the pass-through deduction. And then there are some new limitations on losses and how they can be deducted, so we need to be paying attention to that. I didn't really talk about that too much, but it is something to consider that there are some new limitations. The biggest one being that for net operating losses, you can no longer carry those back. So in the past, we were able to take a loss. Let's say you had a loss on your business. You could actually carry that backwards and maybe even get a refund of a prior year tax. You can't do that anymore. It can only be carried forward.